Okay, so I was offered a gig ticket to go see someone I hadn't heard before, Tove Styrke, and she was supported by Emily Burns at the O2 Institute. Trouble is, there's so many different O2 sponsors locations now in Birmingham that it's a bit awkward that you have to look up which exact one it is, but you know, thankfully I got to the right one. When I was there was a few different events on and they sent me in the wrong queue, so I had to go join the back of another queue again, which was a little irritating to say the least, but you know, thankfully it was a short queue, so it wasn't too much of an extra wait, but they could have just sent me in the correct queue to begin with, and that would have been helpful, but the staff, you know, maybe didn't realise that I needed to swap my free ticket for their special entry ticket. You know, they could have allowed it to just let you in with that, but no, you needed to do it and swap it rather than going to the main queue, which I guess was the proper queue for the event. So, you know, they didn't actually realise that they needed to do special things for the tickets, but that's beside the point. Anyway, I went because it was Electropop and I thought that would probably be interesting to go listen to and, you know, give my opinion on. So, yeah, and it turned out to be a pretty cool night. Now, I'm going to say what sort of variants of electropop it is, because both of them has, you know, the same sort of things, and maybe this is what electropop is now, but I don't watch The Only Way is Essex, but there's just a certain feeling to the music that you get from adverts that I've seen of it, and yeah, I'm just going to say it's like electropop, The Only Way is Essex music, if that makes any sense at all. It just had that sort of vibe to it, with both of them, to be honest, you know, they both had that sort of feel to them. But they're both pretty cool, you know, and Emily Burns, never heard of her either, but she seemed pretty cool. And yeah, it's a bit odd now that I'm older and everyone that's musicians and that just seem to be in my peer group, and you know, it's like, you know, they just seem like more normal people, but I guess, you know, that's just life as it progresses, you know. Whereas when you're younger, they seem, you know, more special and, you know, more elevated. Now it's like, you know, hey, they're regular people. Regular, ordinary people. You should, yeah. But anyway, yeah, that's beside the point. The songs were pretty cool. They were upbeat and dancey, so you could dance along to them. I will suggest that Emily Burns' sets maybe could use a little bit different order, but I don't know how, because her set list was so short. You know, she had such a short period to play that it'd be a bit difficult, and she seemed to want to really play one particular song which was meaningful to her about a past relationship, you know, which is friends don't kiss friends, which is very, very true, you know, you don't kiss friends, you know, if you kiss them then it's more than friends, and, you know, it's like, or it's just like, back off, you know, don't kiss me, you're a friend, but I think the connotation was more like, you know, you can't kiss me and then say we're just friends, and, you know, it's like, it's more than friends if you're kissing, and there's feelings involved. Anyway, that was kind of a sad and downbeat song sandwiched in the middle of the others, and, you know, I guess it's probably the correct place to put it, because you don't want to start off with a really, really sad song and drink it down. But also, you want to end more upbeat, so I guess you don't want to leave it till the last song either. But, you know, in the middle, it kind of, with so few songs played, it did, you know, lower the moods whilst it was still in the build-up phase, I'd suggest, and then, you know, it was hard to rebuild up after that. But yeah, the songs were pretty cool and upbeat, and, you know, something you could dance along to, and she seemed pretty cool and interesting, so yeah, I mean, I'd be interested in seeing more of her and hearing more of her stuff. She had a cool style as well, so yeah, I think all in all she was pretty cool. Then, the next singer was obviously Tove Styrke, or as some of the staff were calling her, Tove Strike. But it's definitely the Y before the R, so it's Styrke, and I think she even pronounced it Styrke. So you know, it's a complicated name for sure, especially with Tove before it as well. It's like a very complicated name to know indeed. Now, she sort of seemed like a mix between Grimes and one of the girls from, I can't remember the name of them, but a 90s bands. You Know Where It's At, and, you know, Black Coffee and all that. Those songs, with her look, you know, she looked a bit like that. And then at times she even looked a bit like Britney Spears, and she did make a Britney Spears reference during a set. So, you know, she was an interesting blend of those, but with, like, Cav Red Riding Hood, essentially. She was wearing, like, plastic PVC sort of clothes and trousers, and then a red Adidas striped top with a red fishnetty sort of huzz sort of thing, and she was wearing it over to start sets, and the flowers all had LEDs and looked really cool. So there's an interesting sort of layout on there, and an interesting sort of theme, like going down into funky rave garden, maybe. I don't know. Maybe that was the sort of impression that was meant to be given across. But yeah, she seemed pretty cool, and again, it was only way as Essex sort of electro-pop sort of music. It's the best way that I can describe it, but still it's something with a cool beat and something you could dance to. Now maybe I might want it to be, a bit more slosh, because it's definitely nightclub music that I would go and dance to in a nightclub. But downsides are not necessarily what was going on stage, but the people that I was next to in the audience. So the girls in front of me, literally when the music started, down pills water, and were off their faces, and I was getting elbowed in the chest repeatedly by this one girl. That wasn't, that's distracting from dancing, because she's a bit off her face and just flailing everywhere. And when she came in, I was already in the room and in position ready to watch the stuff. She literally, there's plenty of space around us because it was not full at all. She literally came and stood on the spot that I was stood on in some passive-aggressive nature, and stood on top of me. It's because her friends were there, and it's but there was still plenty of rooms for her to stand and be with her friends. But no, she just wanted to be, because she wanted to be directly behind this one girl that was maybe her girlfriend or she fancied. Because she came with another girl. So, I think that other girl was her girlfriend, but she seemed to be flirting heavily with the one that was already there, and just kept being passive aggressive to me and looking at me and elbowing me. And that's maybe why she was elbowing me as well. It's Jesus, I'm just stood here watching the show, I'm not I'm not making moves on your girlfriend, mate. Not making moves on your girlfriend, just because she's looked at me a couple of times doesn't mean I'm making moves on her, no. But yeah, and then the other detriment was to the right of me, there was this guy that really could not sing at all, and he was encouraging people to sing, but he was singing so loud and so out of tune and so obnoxiously right in my ear that was another distraction from enjoying the show. But yeah, other than that, if I was drunk, maybe I could have got down and got funky and fully let go. But I was chilling along with the music and getting along with it, even though I'd never heard of her and I didn't know any of the songs, which is also another thing that makes it a little hard. When you don't know the music, you don't know it. You can't really know all the tunes and that. But I was getting along with it and dancing along with it, and it was definitely interesting music. And I'd be interested to hear more from her as well. But again, these two factors dragged me out of enjoying the show as much as I could have. And one final note is there was this one girl who just kept staring at me all night long, really, really heavily staring at me constantly, and I could feel her gaze burning into the side of me. She looked a bit familiar, but yeah, it's the question when you don't know who that person is, but they look familiar. It's did she follow me on social media? Because I get the sort of feeling that it's an online thing more than a IRL thing. But it's is she on social media, or have I seen her on a dating site, have I seen her on a friend's Facebook picture or something, so she's a friend of a friend who I don't know, or is it that I just have seen her around town and she's maybe stared at me a lot around town before, because that's happened before as well, that I've been stared at. And then there's me looking shit and terrible because I've cut my hair, but I couldn't find my good scissors, and so, yes, it's very uneven, and because it's uneven, the downside of long hair is it starts flicking out and doing shit things because it's not level, so it's the longer bits go whoop, whoop, it's not long, it's not matched, and it just starts going shit like that because of that, and now it looks like complete shit, so I do need to get it trimmed and level. Still haven't found my good scissors. But yeah, other than that, I had a good night, it was a fun night out, it was an interesting night, and I'd recommend both of them, chilled modern pop, it's pretty interesting, definitely something you could get down with on a dance floor. So, they had some interesting lyrics and some interesting themes as well, just love and different things. So yeah, it was all in all pretty good music, pretty good night. So I definitely recommend them both. Obviously I had never heard of them before, but again, that's down to modern music methods, because radio doesn't seem to necessarily be a thing these days. I mean, Kerrang Radio vanished, which is what I used to listen to, and now Absolute Radio just plays the same songs over and over again. You rarely get a new song like that. So, yeah, no, it's kind of difficult to hear new and interesting music. So there needs to be some sort of 2020 post-future method of getting music out there. And like I said, I've had ideas into interesting ways that they could do this, but it's a very complicated thing for musicians to get noticed and heard these days. TV adverts and being on TV shows and things like that. Yeah, that works as getting things across, but it's like they have to essentially get noticed like that, and it's not so easy for them these days. But yeah, two interesting electropop dance music sort of things. So yeah, I would definitely recommend them both, and both of the people seemed quite interesting characters. Like I said, Tove was definitely getting down and dancing and enjoying the dancing and the sexualisation of it as well. She was definitely flirting with a lot of the crowds and even the girls that were off their faces. She's flirting heavily with them, and it's like, yeah, it's like. And then Emily was maybe eyeing me up a bit, but and the one girl that was elbowing me a lot seemed a bit jealous of that. she really seemed a little jealous of that. So maybe that was again, part of the passive aggressiveness nature, that she wanted all the attention, and apparently she hadn't slept since last. Well, it's like 2 nights ago, but she hadn't slept in over 36 hours. So it was like, yeah. You've not slept and you're taking drugs and you're off your face. So enjoy your ride there, mate. Not really my sort of thing to be like that sort of substance abuse. And no, not for me. And they were very undiscreetly taking pills in front of everyone. So yes. But yeah, I mean, it's a good night and it's an interesting venue. It's like a little tower. But yeah, and when I went there as well, the first thing that the security guard said to me was like, "Fields is cancelled, mate." It's like, I'm guessing he meant Creamfields, probably a night out. But yeah, I mean, I wasn't there for Creamfields. I was there for literally to go see this event, and yeah, so yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching. Join us again some more. Goodbye.